Today's screen is intentionally easier because I wanted to make it easier for me, especially when times are getting a little bit tougher these days with things picking up for the coming year. But I also want to share that sometimes, especially like times like this, that I tend not to be as creative and I just want to get myself going in terms of printmaking. So that's why today's screen is really just intentionally simple, get my hands moving, or else perhaps I would never do printmaking ever again. So with that, let's start our easy print. I would say that when I transfer it, I only care about this portion because this portion is the one that gives me all the details that is going to be easier for me to carve. And I would like to give shout out to this photographer that I found. I mean, he took this photograph and I would love to credit him, but I don't know what his name is. And I found this photograph on Pinterest and I find a lot of inspirations from Pinterest. And because of this photograph, I was able to come up with designs like that. I adapted it, I changed my design a little bit. And this brought me to one of the thought process that I have, which is I always steal a lot, and artists, we steal a lot as well. This thought process actually comes from me reading this book, This book called Steal Like an Artist. I read this every year because it reminds me that I don't need to be 100% the most creative person. Sometimes we just need to steal from other people's book. I wouldn't necessarily call it stealing, but I would call it changing what they provide to what you want to offer. So that medium is a photography as a medium. And for that photo, compared to this one, I adapted quite a bit of things. I removed like certain humans, I changed out the windows, I also make this a more printmaking medium. And in this coming year, if you have a hard time thinking about what you want to create, I think sometimes it's better to just look at what other people are offering and just adapt it to what you can offer. And that's something that always hold closely to me. This took me 20-30 minutes, so it was really quick. I finished carving already and I'm so ready to ink this up. But before I do that, I want to talk about our boredom. And in a very highly stressful city like mine, I live in Singapore, so it's really fast paced. And sometimes when I am super stressed and really schedule are packed, I don't have time for myself. I don't get bored because I'm so stimulated. And when we are so stimulated, we just don't think or even be creative at all. So there are times that I just walk. without any devices. I just walk. And walking really helps me because number one, I'm bored. Number two, I think it gets my body moving. So it helps my brain flow a little bit better. And that's how I get a little bit more creative. So as you can see, all this art over here, before all this were born, I actually took a walk and I just walked, look around, really appreciate the environment, the surroundings, and just really be really in tune with what I'm thinking of, who I am, and why I'm so stressed out at the point of time. And because I was so bored walking, it got me creative. It led me to a lot of designs. It led me to a lot of ideas. And some of this are all on the wall. I just finished this print and I think it's really beautiful. There are some parts that I think that could be better, like the curves, and also there are parts that are supposed to be inked but not inked, and there are parts that are not supposed to be inked but inked. And I was a little bit confused as to the orientation between like the left hand side and the right hand side, or whether it was upside down, as you can see when I was like hovering on my mold. But ultimately, I'm really happy with how this turns out. The corridor line was something that I am really quite happy with today, especially since the corridor line was exceptionally thin and I really took my time to carve that one out accurately and correctly so that it differentiates between the foreground and the background. So if you ever need new ideas, I will always recommend looking at people's works or even go for a walk. I think that could help you adapt into what you want to do and think of new ideas that you want to create for yourself. So that's all for today's art and today's print. I hope you enjoyed today's video and I'll see you next week.